Once upon a time, in a majestic, ancient forest, lived a tiny ant named Pip. The morning sun painted the giant trees in golden hues of light. The air was filled with the scent of pine and the music of nature. This was a world where everything seemed giant and full of mystery. While other ants looked at the ground for food, Pip always looked up. He was a small creature with a heart full of big, bright dreams. Far in the distance, a mountain stood like a silent giant. Its peak was hidden behind a veil of soft white clouds that touched the blue sky. Pip dreamed of touching those clouds. He wondered what the world looked like from the very top of that magnificent and giant peak far away. A single drop of dew fell beside him, looking like a massive crystal ball. To Pip, even the smallest things in the forest were grand adventures. His eyes sparkled with curiosity. He didn't want to just survive. He wanted to see the beauty of the world from the highest point possible today. The mountain was calling his name. He could feel the pulse of the earth beneath his feet, urging him to go where no ant had gone. He knew his life was about to change. The comfort of the colony was safe, but the call of the horizon was much stronger for him. Pip decided to share his big dream with his friends. He stood tall in the middle of the busy colony and spoke of the distant mountain, but everyone laughed at him. They shook their heads and pointed at his tiny size, then at the mountain that seemed to reach the very stars. "You are too small, Pip. The mountain is too high," an old ant warned him. "Stick to the ground and look for crumbs like we do." The others turned their backs, returning to their work. They thought his dream was impossible, a foolish wish for such a tiny, fragile little creature. For a moment, Pip felt a pang of sadness. Maybe they were right. How could a creature as small as him ever conquer something so massive? But then he saw the peak again. The sunlight caught the snow, and his heart burned with a fire that no words could ever put out. Pip didn't listen to the doubts. He packed his courage and prepared for the journey. He knew that limits were only found in the mind's eye. He packed a small piece of food and a lot of hope. He was ready to face the unknown, fueled by a spirit that knew no bounds. "Size doesn't define my limits," he thought quietly to himself. He stood at the edge of his home, ready to take his first step into greatness. With a deep breath, he started his long journey. Each step was a promise to himself that he would never give up on his beautiful dream. The grass was thick and tall, like a forest of emerald pillars. Pip marched forward, his eyes fixed on the horizon where the mountain waited patiently. The path ahead was long and dangerous, but Pip's resolve was stronger than ever. The grand adventure of the little ant had finally, truly, begun today. The path was much harder than he had imagined. Every pebble felt like a giant wall, and every slope seemed to reach up to the sky. He had to use all his strength to climb over the rocks. His muscles ached, but his spirit remained light as he climbed higher and higher. The stones were like skyscrapers. Pip looked at the obstacles and saw them as stepping stones, each one bringing him closer to his ultimate goal. He leaped with faith and landed with grace. Even when the gaps seemed wide, Pip found the courage to jump and trust in his own ability. Suddenly, the sky grew dark. A cold wind began to whistle through the rocks, and Pip could feel the change in the air around him. Raindrops began to fall, hitting the ground like liquid bombs. For a tiny ant, a single drop of rain was like an entire falling ocean. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him, dodging the heavy splashes. The world became a blur of water and gray, cold mountain air. He found shelter under a fallen flower petal. He sat there, shivering, watching the storm roar outside his tiny, colorful, and fragile mountain hideout. The sound was deafening, like 1,000 drums beating at once. Pip felt very small and very alone in the middle of the raging mountain storm. When the rain finally stopped, Pip emerged from his shelter. The world was wet and glistening, but the path ahead had become even more dangerous. The mud was slick and treacherous. Pip tried to climb, but he slipped and fell back down. It felt like all his progress was lost, but Pip never stayed down. He wiped the mud from his eyes and started again. He learned that every fall was just another lesson in strength. He found a small twig to help him balance. With every step, he reminded himself that a small victory is still a victory worth celebrating. The mountain was getting closer. The mist was clearing, revealing the jagged beauty of the heights he was determined to reach no matter the cost. He moved forward with a quiet strength. The forest was far below him now, and the air was beginning to grow thin and very cold. High up on the mountain, Pip was truly exhausted. His tiny legs trembled with every move, and the cold was biting at his small body. He looked back and saw how far he had come. His home was now just a tiny speck in a vast world he had never known. His breath came in short gasps. He was tired, but the fire in his heart was stronger than the pain in his tiny, aching legs. The summit was almost within reach, but a massive vertical wall of rock stood in his way. It was the ultimate test of his will. He didn't see an obstacle. He saw a way. Pip began to climb the wall, one tiny grip at a time, moving upward with pure determination. Suddenly, a shadow covered him. A giant eagle soared high above, its wings masking the sun and bringing a moment of deep, silent fear. He hid in a small crack, holding his breath. The predator was a reminder of how dangerous this high world could be for someone so small. Once the danger passed, Pip climbed out. He wouldn't let fear stop him now. He had come too far to let anything turn him back. The air was freezing now. Every step required all the energy he had left. He was a tiny warrior fighting against the cold and height. "I can do this," he whispered to the wind. The mountain seemed to listen, and for a moment, the wind died down to a breeze. A final surge of strength filled his body. He wasn't just an ant anymore. He was a pioneer on the edge of a new and beautiful world. The light of the setting sun turned the rocks into gold. The summit was right there, just a few more pulls away from his reach. With one last effort, Pip pulled himself onto the flat ground of the summit. He had done it. He had reached the very top of the world. Finally, Pip reached the summit. He stood above the clouds, looking out at a world that stretched further than he could ever have imagined. He was touching the sky. Below him, the clouds moved like a white sea, soft and beautiful in the light of the dying afternoon sun. He reached out and touched the mist. His dream was no longer a dream. It was his reality. The world was a beautiful, golden masterpiece. The tiny ant had conquered the giant mountain. He didn't do it with big steps, but with a spirit that simply refused to be beaten. He felt a peace he had never known. The laughter of the others was gone, replaced by the silent respect of the mountain and the sky. He realized that his size was never a cage. His heart was as big as the mountain, and his vision was wider than the forest below. From this height, everything looked different. He could see that the world was full of possibilities for those who had the courage to seek them. The journey was hard, but the view was worth every struggle. Pip had proven that no dream is too big if you are brave enough. Your size or your background doesn't limit your potential. Only your lack of courage does. Believe in yourself and keep moving toward your own peak. Limits do not lie in your stature, but in your will. Keep climbing, keep dreaming, and one day you will touch the clouds, just like Pip. Every great achievement starts with a decision to try. May you find the strength of Pip the ant and conquer your own giant mountains today.